Welcome to yet another edition of Global Franchise Leaders Forum. My name is Marya, and I'm the president for Franchise India. Every Friday, we come together with a set of experts from around the world to share opportunities in global franchising. This week's focus is Germany. I'm joined by two very exciting leaders from the franchise fraternity. We've got Franz, who's a leading franchise consultant, and we also have Bjorn, who's leading a very exciting and very fast-growing franchise opportunity called Fitbox. I'm joined by my elder brother and chairman for Franchise India, Gaurav Marya. So without much ado, I would like Gaurav to give welcome.
Sure. Thank you, Sachin. And thank you, gentlemen, for having taken time out to join forum. India is a very exciting market. Franchise India has been last 23 years trying to bring in a lot of global brands to the market. And we've done about 300 different market entries and seen a lot of evolution. So this was designed when Sachin and I thought that we will create a forum like this was largely two purposes. One, obviously pick your mind and see where is the best practices of franchising going, what are the trends we're seeing, and especially the opportunity we have today is another big trend, so it's a trend which is shifting the way people used to consume fitness and so on and so forth. So in the changing times where consumption is changing, the subscribers changing, people are consuming very differently, how franchising was going to evolve and what kind of changes we would see, and especially mature markets. And Germany is a very mature market, so we have an opportunity to have you, Franz, and you talk about how you seeing this change happening, and that's one part. And second is also bridge the opportunities, because I feel that India would emerge as one of the most attractive markets for European and US brands to now look at it. It's just not about the population, but it's also the market has come down to the age where I think there is a much better infrastructure, much more acceptability. And that's also another thing. So it's a mix of, I think, bringing the best practices, and second, all about the opportunities if we can showcase in this forum and really reach out to our audience. Franchise India today enjoys about 3 million entrepreneurs who are there with us in our ecosystem. We have probably the world's largest ecosystem of potential franchisees, so to say. And this has come because of our over 1,000 exhibitions we have done. We've been running a magazine for 20 years. So we have created a fully integrated company. Right? Franchise India runs 1,200 people in 70 offices in India. So all that effort has now come down to a large ecosystem, and we feel that we can help our ecosystem to get more information, some new interesting ideas. So over to you, Franz, and if you want to really start with giving, where do you see the change and what are the changes, 3 or 4 big changes you are seeing is coming in the marketplace?
Thank you, Gaurav, for inviting me to this webinar. It's a pleasure to be with you and, of course, to discuss Germany today. What I want to do is I want to start with a small presentation just to give you an outlook on basically some facts and figures about Germany. So that I will do in the first instance. And of course, then I will also introduce Bjorn. So now let me start with this short presentation, which I have called How to Build Your Brand in Germany Post COVID-19. Now, Germany has a population of about 82 million. And of course, we have a GDP per capita, which is approximately $50,000. So it is a market, as you already said, which is mature. And of course, people have disposable income to spend on a lot of services. Don't forget though, we had a 10% drop in the second quarter of this year, like everyone else, some more, some less. But nevertheless, we still remain the strongest economy in Europe. And also the franchise business model is accepted, and actually interest is or has been increasing over the last 3 months. This is because people who are employed, of course, now also see that there are risks in employment, and maybe they're rethinking their life and thinking, why don't I become my own boss and do my own thing? So we do have seen an increase in people looking for franchise opportunities. We have approximately 950 plus franchise systems in Germany. Of course, during this crisis, I do expect some casualties, like we probably will see in other countries as well. And the consumers here like Indian cuisine. We have quite a number of restaurants, takeaways, etc. So many people, of course, associate India with the cuisine. Franchise regulation is less than in the United States. It's more than in the UK. And the purchasing power distribution, as you can see from the map on the right, is concentrated really more in the center and in the south of Germany. The very red country there is actually Switzerland. That's here at the bottom, of course, where the concentration of purchasing power is even higher than in Germany. With regards to COVID, we had, as of today, 215,000 confirmed cases, about 9,200 deaths, and 194,000 people that recovered. Those are the latest figure, just to give you an idea. I would say there are huge opportunities for brands, especially in COVID-proof sectors in Germany at the moment. Of course, there are also challenges. As I already said, franchisees, it used to be difficult to find franchisees in Germany because people are basically very risk averse, but this is starting to change post-COVID. Unemployment, of course, we had a 20-year low before the crisis, but of course now it is rising, obviously. And job vacancies, they are declining from a previous record of 1 million as well. The risk attitude, as I already mentioned, is highly averse, but also this is changing. The business approach in Germany is that many people are number crunchers. So they prefer to crunch the numbers before they make any emotional decision to buy something, to buy a franchise. So that you have to keep in mind when you enter the German market. The property rents are high, and so far they have not been declining. Also, the labor costs are high, with a tendency to fall now, though. So that's definitely the case. With regards to your brand, if you have a brand in India, of course, it's not a brand in Germany at this point in time. And you also have to always consider the competition, domestic and international. Basically, your brand has to prove the business case for Germany when you want to come to Germany. There are, of course, different approaches. One is to set up a pilot operation, of course, to prove that your concept is also working in Germany, which means you have to find a German operations manager, and then, of course, you adapt the pilot to suit the German culture. Another approach is master franchisee. Of course, when you have master franchisees, you are less in control than when you franchise directly, and the risk is higher, especially if you just have one master for the whole country, because then you put all your eggs into one basket. So it's very important to find the right German partner, and that usually takes time. Don't get any partner, you have to find the right one. Of course, the master then does the pilot and the franchising, with some sort of revenue share. The other approach is actually that you set up a German subsidiary. Of course, you have much higher control and lower risk. you then usually employ a German CEO, and of course you also steer the German unit and the German CEO through the supervisory board. So that is also an approach some franchisees and some franchisors from abroad have taken. Of course, in this case, you do not share any kind of revenues, because basically your master franchisee is your own subsidiary, so you get 100%. Multi-unit franchising has become more and more popular in Germany. It's a kind of control risk balance. Again, of course, you have to find the right multi-unit franchisees. First, then you need the first one, of course, has to do a pilot, and then the Indian HQ does the franchising. So there's always a balance. You have to look, if you're either looking for a quick buck or long-term sustainable profits. That is always a balance. And of course, there are a lot of grades in between. Now I'm coming to some of my clients and how they have basically fared during the COVID-19 crisis so far. One is Signal 88 Security. It's a technology-driven patrol drive security service with a high degree of automation, starting from randomized and optimized run sheets to quick alarm responses. In the US, they respond to an alarm on average in less than 15 minutes, to, of course, optimized and automatic wage calculation and invoice generation. For Germany, we are looking for 6 master franchisees. So they have divided up the country, and we're also looking for one for Austria and one for Switzerland. Now, in the first half year of 2020, their revenues grew by 33%, which shows you the security sector does not have an issue with COVID. On the contrary, they have been benefiting from COVID. But of course, it depends a little bit on the securities companies that are very heavily engaged, for example, with air travel. Of course, they have had a massive downturn. The next one you all know in India, Bata Shoes. I think they have over 1,000 stores in India. In Germany, we're looking for multi-unit operators that develop a region, for example, Bavaria. But of course, the COVID has really, and especially the lockdown, has really affected all retail stores and all restaurant chains. So of course, they also had their share with this. And at the moment, it's difficult to find franchisees in these areas, retail and also restaurant. I say at the moment, of course, we have to see how the situation develops. Felix Saloon Suites, they are multi-unit. They're looking for multi-unit franchisees that are developing a region in Germany, for example, but also in other countries. Basically, the concept is that the multi-unit franchisee acquires either space in a shopping mall or constructs a building, which is then fitted with 30 to 70 individual salons, hairdressers, nail designers, massage therapists, etc., from beauty, health, and wellness. Basically, it's a co-working opportunity with the hairdresser referring business to the nail artist, etc., because they're all sitting in the same building. The franchisee, of course, runs the building. He does not have any saloon in there. So he's basically running the building. Citadine Hotel is another one, apart hotel. It's a serviced residence approach. of course, they are also looking for multi-unit franchisees to construct or change existing buildings into serviced apartments, adhering to the citadine concept. They are, of course, Singapore-based and part of the Ascot Group. And they have done well during the Corona crisis, and have been able actually to keep 85% of their buildings open during COVID. It is, of course, a real estate investment. InExpress is also present in India. It's a reseller of shipping services from the UK. In Germany, they set up a wholly owned subsidiary, and I found them the managing director. And of course, they have started to franchise now in Germany as well for the last 18 months. And they have not been affected by COVID-19 at all. On the contrary, as we know, people are shopping from home, consumers are buying online, logistics basically is having a boom. So they of course had increasing business, but also a lot of interest in their franchise because of that. I'm also supporting Salad Master. Salad Master is actually not a franchise. They are a direct sales company. They are selling healthy cooking solutions, cookware for healthy cooking, basically. In the US, they're in partnership, for example, with the American Diabetes Association, and in the UK with Diabetes UK. And they are looking for people with direct sales experience that can then be developed into Salad Master authorized dealers. But they had to change as well, because they did all their cooking in real life, meaning going to people's home and then actually cook there. They can no longer do this, so they have changed to virtual cooking shows. CompuCare is an Indian company based in Vadodara, Gujarat. Also not a franchise, but I'm helping them to get a foot in Germany and Europe. Basically, they're a high-tech company producing and selling automation solutions, LED display boards, CCTV, wireless parking solutions, etc. So they are really one of India's many high-tech companies. And of course, we are also helping companies that are not franchisors to come to Germany, for example, or other European countries. And last but not least, there is Fitbox, and I'm happy that Björn is with us. It's a German franchised brand that is ready to venture abroad and looking for master franchisees. And they, of course, are also technology-driven, a technology-driven fitness revolution. But see for yourself, I have a 90-second video which shows basically what this is all about. Okay, Björn, I presume it's your turn to explain a little bit about the fitness revolution.
Thank you, Franz. I'm very happy to be here. And I also obviously really love Indian cuisine. It's tikka masala and the naan. I really, really love it. Yeah, I'm Björn Schultheis. I'm the co-founder and CMO of Fitbox. And we are one of the top 3 global EMS gym franchises worldwide, with more than 2 million accomplished EMS personal trainings. Yeah, before we started Fitbox, I was CMO of McFit International. That's one of the world's largest discount fitness gym chains. And why I tell you this, this business model is for a target group of people with lots of time, but little money. So it's $25, it's a discount business. And that's when my partner and me thought, wait a moment, there must be a business model for people with lots of money and little time. And that's obviously one of the things why our growth is really skyrocketing now, because that's a target group. They are around 40 years old, in the rush hour of their lives, as we say. That means they have a very demanding job, they have kids, they have a partner, they have friends, they have a business or a house they bought, they have to pay, and they are educated enough that they know I have to do something for my body. I need to do fitness and I need to work out, but I have no time. And honestly, I'm not really motivated to go to the gym, because you know, you subscribe to an ordinary gym. We know in January you go, in February only once, and then you're off. So we thought there must be a solution to get these people really into the physical success. So what's our USP? It's very easy. Every session at Fitbox is scheduled. So it's like a doctor or a massage or a hair cutter. So there's no excuse. It's an appointment. And the second one is every session is accompanied and supervised by a professional trainer. And that trainer really will push you to the limit, will help you, that you will do it perfectly. And on top, and that's what EMS is all about. That's EMS stands for electric muscle stimulation. That's an outstanding technology coming from Germany, conquering the world as we see it, because it's one of the first really huge fitness innovations and technology that's not coming from United States, sweeping to Germany. It's the other way around, yeah, because it's really a German technology, and it's outstanding, where you go to the gym with ordinary weightlifting with iron. It takes you 2 to 3 hours. What you can do at Fitbox with EMS in only 20 minutes. And there are many studies, medical studies, that it's really working. And it's not just a fitness fad, and it's not that you think, oh, it's easy. I put on a vest, and the electricity impulses will stimulate your muscle hundreds of times, and it's very strenuous. So the clients are sweating. It's not like easy sitting and doing a little bit like this. It's really strenuous, and you need to really work out. Yeah, and our prices compared to the $25 a month for McFit is at around $135 a month, and we think it's a reasonable price here in Europe, at least, because what you get is a personal training every week. So you can go 4 times to a personal training, and that's a very reasonable and attractive price for that. Yeah, that's, yeah, in a nutshell, our business. When we founded Fitbox in 2012, we also did 1 gym for a proof of concept. We opened another 5 more own stores. So we got really proof of concept, and we started in 2016 with franchise licenses. And now it's 83 gyms open but we sold already another 18. Even during COVID, we sold 5 franchises in Germany and Austria. And so we will touch the 100 gyms within this year. Yeah, so far. Maybe I could tell you a lot more, but I think it's maybe more interesting to get some questions, Franz-Josef. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Franz. Thank you, Björn, and compliments on your rapid growth. Very exciting portfolio that you have, Franz. So, Gaurav, you wanna tell us your experience about EMS and what Björn is doing?
No, sure. So as before the webinar started, I was sharing that we always at Franchise India continue to look at future technologies, future businesses, and particularly I spend a lot of time in that in terms of looking at what is going to be the next big trend. And this started with somebody really telling me and saying that there's something going on in EMS technology, so I especially went to Germany and spent about a couple of days there, and I was surprised that there are about 2,500 micro gyms now in Germany alone, which is a phenomenal success for any company to do that. And second, and as I said, Fitbox is among the top one of them, but there are many players. As this was a technology which was very revolutionary. It's just you get a bodysuit, and in the bodysuit is connected to electric so which is not harmful. So a lot of people think that EMS is harmful. Actually, it's not. It's rather stimulates your body, and then you do a light exercise. But the impact it creates in 20 minutes is actually same what you would do in a full-blown cardio and weight training over the time for a 1 hour, 1.5 hour. So it's absolutely. So I call this as a 3 advantage thing, especially when it comes to markets like India. One advantage is obviously what he said. People who don't have time and also don't want to go to a conventional gym because they get overwhelmed by the size and structure, and they're not self-driven, so they need a little bit of a motivation which comes from personal trainers. So it's a 20 minutes straight. You can be in and out in exactly 30 minutes, which means that 5 minutes for you to change, 5 minutes to cool down, and 20 minutes for your exercise, which is very efficient. You can really do 3 to 4, 5 times a week also. That's one. And almost all top sports people, people who drive on who are in biking or motorbiking or things of that nature, which needs extreme attention and so on and so forth, they are now using it. Extreme athletes. India also, I was telling that Abhinav Bindra, because a lot of audience would know, he's our only Olympian and he's a top shooter of the world. And he uses that, and he brought this technology to India. And then all the other cricket players also in India, or our top cricket players, also use this technology. And a lot of people have in home. The biggest star in India is Shah Rukh Khan, which is a very big Bollywood star. He has in his home. So these are the people who actually bought these in their homes, and this is very private, kept. It's not come out of the market, but everybody in the Bollywood space is actually using them in their homes, because they just bought a machine and they have the comfort of doing it. So it has one advantage of that. The second advantage, which to me is very bigger, I've seen a lot of failures in the conventional gyms in markets when come to India or places like that, because the capex becomes very high, and opex is also very high, because rentals, to your understanding, in India is sometimes as equal as Europe. Very expensive rentals. So if you do a big box gym for 10,000, 15,000 square feet, your rentals can go up to $20,000 a month, kind of a situation. So if you are at $20,000 a month in just a rent on a monthly basis, and you are a value country, you cannot charge like other markets, and you still charge very low. You charge as low as sometimes $300 a year or $400 a year. So that kind of a price you charge for a year from memberships. And how do you really make money, right? You have very high capex, because to fill 10,000, you need maybe 20 cardio machines and this and that. So I think the business model itself was not making financial sense. And the micro gyms make great sense because they are capex light, they're opex light. So that's another strong advantage. And third is commuting. Commuting is in India is a huge problem. That travel time in a city like Bangalore, which is very evolved market, even if you're traveling for 5 kilometers, just a 5 kilometer, unlike in Germany, people would walk every day 5, 7, 10 kilometers, right? But if you are doing a 5 kilometer on a car, it can take you 45 minutes to 1 hour. So which means, so if I'm having a gym which is too far for me, it will never work, because the commuting itself would take all your time. So people want something which is very convenient. They go home and they can just step out and jump out and go to the neighborhood and do their exercise and come. So these are three strong advantages where I see there is an opportunity and there can be. But yes, obviously education, like you did, proof of concept, getting 3 or 4, 5 right thing, and getting some opinion makers, people who are enthusiasts and they are setting among opinion makers. If they come in the first, then this market opportunity is very, very big.
Yeah.
That's very exciting because the kind of optimum opportunity that this promises to be. Franz, I'm going to come to you and talk about the market. You spoke about how during COVID there are certain COVID-proof. I mean, I like the term that you've used, COVID-proof opportunities. So you want to elaborate on some of the opportunities that you are working on right now?
Yes. I mean, if you put it more general, basically anything which has a stationary kind of business where you have outlets, like a retail outlet, or where you have restaurant outlets. That, of course, is very difficult at the moment because of the previous lockdown. Of course, the lockdown has been lifted, but even still, people are more hesitant to shop and also maybe to go to restaurants. I mean, it is picking up, I must say, but of course we have to wait and see how this will develop. Other services, especially services, online services, but also services like logistics, services like security, services like online education. These types of services, I call them COVID-proof because they have benefited. You saw my example, although it's not a franchise, but Salad Master, for example, they just shifted their approach from from direct cooking to virtual cooking, and it's also worked. So I think it is very important, if you have a stationary business, to also think about how can I compensate for the loss of my direct business. What can I do, for example, to maybe go online? Is that possible? It may not be possible in all cases, but in some cases, like Salad Master, of course it is. So I think businesses have to think about whether there are avenues, whether there are ways to, to be innovative, and then, of course, also be able to fight the crisis in this way. Björn, I presume you were also affected by the lockdown initially, but of course this was lifted. So I presume you're also all back in business now.
We're completely back in business. The government made us close all our gyms for almost 3 months. And luckily enough, we didn't lose a single gym. So no one of our franchisees had to shut down the business. As I told, we even acquired several new franchisees during COVID. And as you told before, Franz-Josef, it's really, we can feel it. People think about their jobs, they think about their employment, and suddenly they realize, oops, it's not so secure as I thought it would be. And they are more open to become to take the entrepreneurial journey. So that's really interesting. So we are completely back in business, especially in B2B, to get new franchisees. We are really back, and during the crisis, we supported our partners in many ways. We've set up a task force. We did many online meetings. We checked out the governmental programs, how they could help our franchisees. and we grew very strong together as a community. So for us, we look back and we hope there's not a second wave of COVID shutdown coming. It was somehow also an opportunity to thrive.
Sure. So I'm going to come to the forced entrepreneurship, which Franz has spoken about, and but I'm going to get Gaurav here once on the salad master. I know you've got a lot of experience on the direct sales opportunity, and you were a big believer of saying that this new normal gonna go back to the old normal in some form. So so Salad Master having virtual demos and being a direct sales business. You really think that due to COVID, this pivoting of virtual demos gonna be a way forward for a direct sales kind of an opportunity like that?
So good question. So fundamentally, this I think everybody is trying to debate these days and say we are in a new normal and things, the way we consume and the way we do things would change. I think things which would create a better consumer experience, anything which would enhance the experience value, would certainly change. Which means that anything which took a we were never using it because it was we had some mental blocks and we were not doing this, and I think like digitally we were not connecting so much while everybody had. I mean, we had these Zooms and other things for many years, but we were not doing it. But then suddenly you start doing it, and when you start doing a little more, then we started understanding that it's not harming anybody. It's giving you better convenience, and you can still wear a nice beautiful shirt on the top and still wear pajamas on the bottom, and people would not know, right? So it's something which is still very convenience, right? So anything which you can, and Franz, I can see is laughing a little more, and we don't want Franz you telling that what are you wearing downstairs, so you just be.
No, I'm wearing that if you want to see.
I want to just limit it there, but yeah, so it's things which has created better comfort for people would really adopt. But one thing I can tell everybody, that's my own perception, while this is very prolonged, human like socializing, human like going out, and that's something which we as humans always wanted to do. So things of that nature are not going to change. So if anybody tells me that, look, people would not dine out so much and people would not meet each other, or they would not go to the pubs and have lovely beers, which Germany has, or you not have a Oktoberfest in Germany. So things of that nature would not go away. While this year it might not be the same way, but as it would come back, and rather people would, I think, have it more. So they would actually try to, even if this opens up and a vaccine is out, I think Germany, the sales of beer would go 2x, and people would just go out and enjoy and celebrate and do a lot of things. So those things would continue to be very, very important. But I think in franchising, if I have to say, a few things have really changed. And I think that the startup culture was split into people starting up their own businesses. They were very startup mindset, and franchising was somewhere being competed with the startup thing. So that is a good thing for franchising, because now people don't want to do their own thing. They want to go with somebody who's proven. So that's a good sign. So that's a good sign. Second, entrepreneurship in the mature market, especially Germany, Japan, places like that. People never wanted to be entrepreneurs. They were so comfort on their paychecks. So look, doing like a business look like a foolishness, because you get much better paid when you join a job in somewhere, and everybody wanted to be in jobs. Its markets were consolidated. I think the great thing which is going to happen especially in Europe, and especially Germany, Japan, and countries of that nature, which are run with these mega corporations we pay big checks, entrepreneurship would come back. Historically, if you see early 19th century, there was a lot of entrepreneurship in this, especially in Europe, which created the wealth Europe had, right? So, and then we had all the other issues with their wealth. We had people want to take early retirements, and they want to be on a pensions, and government has to feed them. They want free healthcare, free education, free this, free that. All that started happening because there was a work which was done in certain times in the environment. So I think this would be tough, and a lot of people would not come to terms easily. But I think, especially countries like Germany, because there was a lot of comfort was given. It's a rich country. Per capita is very, very good, unlike other countries I don't want to name. But so there there is a lot of entrepreneurship would come, and I think this would be very well accepted, and people would start understanding the value of their starting their own enterprise, and franchising would again be a big fit. So it's a it's a perfect timing from that perspective.
So,
Yes, I agree. I totally agree with that. Of course, as you rightly said, people felt very comfortable in their job, and actually, we had, you know, at the beginning of the year, we had about 1 million vacancies, jobs that could not be filled. So, of course, that was a situation. Why should I do my own business? There are so many jobs around anyway. But of course, this situation has changed dramatically. And people now feel that a job is no longer that secure. So they are thinking, okay, maybe I should do my own, do my own business. Maybe I should acquire a franchise because, of course, there at least I'm still in charge, especially if I'm looking for something where I know it will also work in situations of crisis. So people are definitely looking for that, and we do see quite a strong increase also from the franchise portals. Many more people are sort of sending in their CVs and are asking for, of course, opportunities. So you're 100% right. This is changing now, and it's good for franchising, and it's good for entrepreneurship in Germany.
we have a portal called franchiseindia.com, which is also one of the largest visited portal, and we get a very large traffic. We've got getting close to about 1.5 million unique visitors, and we in July numbers, as per July numbers, we have exceeded our past numbers. That means the demand that we are generating right now for is very, very high. And this is also a part wherein there's a lot of forced entrepreneurship which is setting in. You know, people are being forced to be, like you're saying, because of job losses and insecurity about jobs in general, is creating a lot of forced entrepreneurship. And like Gaurav was saying, franchising is seen as a safe way to getting into entrepreneurship, because you must realize that, you know, they were not conventional entrepreneur by their spirit. They are entrepreneurs who are forced into entrepreneurship or made to look like that. That's one part of it. Second thing which you're also seeing, and I wanted to take your opinion, how's it going in Germany? Because a lot of people have had this so-called crisis within their existing businesses. They are looking at some kind of a newer opportunities, and or even if there's a decline in the businesses, so they're not performing as good they were performing earlier, so they want to sort of add in other businesses. So are you seeing such kind of opportunities coming in, and what is your advice to them?
Yes, we definitely see that coming in to quite a large extent as well in Germany. Actually, that started already before the crisis, but the crisis has maybe accelerated the trend. Many entrepreneurs that have their own business are looking to diversify, and they did that actually before the crisis started. But of course, the crisis has highlighted that diversification in itself is good because you are not standing on just one foot, but you are standing on more than one leg or two legs or three legs. Some are acquiring different kind of businesses. And of course, for entrepreneurs, a franchise as a second opportunity or another opportunity is well suited as well, because they do not have to set things up from scratch. They can tap into a business. They know how businesses have to be run. So of course they have an advantage compared to someone who is coming from from an employment background. We definitely have the same trend as you have in India in that respect. And actually, especially with regards to master franchisees, I am almost always looking for entrepreneurs, people that are either in a similar business or in the same sector, or people that are looking for entrepreneurs that are looking for as you rightly said, a second type of business, because first of all, they are not as risk averse as people that are in employment. And secondly, of course, they understand business. They might not understand franchising. That's what you have to teach them, but they do know business principles and they do know how to run a company and they can read balance sheets. So that, of course, is a big advantage. Yes, we have the same trend.
Got some questions coming, but I'm going to ask another one on the international franchise. And please, some of you who are looking for master franchise or any international franchise, please do leave a message in the QA box and we'll get in touch with you. Anybody who wants to in specific look at Fitbox franchise, please leave a message there. I know we've got a few of them coming. I'm going to come to Björn and Gaurav and maybe start with Björn, you. What kind of international franchise interest you are seeing at this point?
We see that the technology itself is making its way throughout the world. For us, as a complete brand and operator with the EMS business, we have gyms in Russia, in Moscow, of course in Austria and Germany, but we're entering the Dutch markets, the Netherlands this year, and we receive maybe daily and weekly many like bids from all over the world, let's say. So we see, yeah, there is a demand, but of course it needs to be a professional approach, because we know just get the machine and let's do it. That's not the way you're going to be profitable. You really need a system, yeah, where everything is really in order and you need to adapt it to the local market. And that's the thing we saw with other EMS businesses who tried to put their German business models exactly the same way into the country, and they fail. Of course, it's the same brand, but you need to adapt to the local differences. That's very important, and we will be open to adapt as long as it's still under our umbrella brand, our business model. Yeah.
Sure. Gaurav, I know you're advising a lot of people who both in India as well as international for investment opportunities overseas. You've just done a tie-up with the UAE ruling body. My question to you is, and I think you're also doing an NRI program today, so you may want to speak about that as well. So I want to understand from you how's this opportunity for international investments coming along?
Sure. So, both things are happening in India, and just for our audience, we're very excited about both bringing in, I mean, historically, Franchise India was born with the idea of bringing global brands to India, which we continue to do that. And that's something is a big interest area for us. And that also has changed, when we started, everybody used to, I mean, whenever you talk to developing country and investors, and especially the big investors, the big family businesses and so on and so forth, they're always looking for the iconic brands, and they go like a trophy collectors, and they want to pick up something which is the biggest in that region, and especially the American brands, and which was the first era of our bringing these companies. The second era, which was then the categories became very important, and people were looking at, like food became very important, and almost every second brand was entering was food and so on and so forth. Now is the trend where I think I see people are now going and seeing newer trends, and they are actually more interested in, rather than just the company, they're more interested in the founders, and they're interested in who's running the businesses and so on and so forth. So I see a great timing now for what I call the next generation brands in franchise. And that's something which is working very fast. And I'm seeing companies which are 4, 5, 6 years established, and they suddenly become global companies, and because they're trending, they're more adaptable, they are more they've understood the gap area. So I see very clearly Fitbox there. Fitbox is a trend. It's what happened in Germany in last 5, 7 years would happen in next markets another 5, 7 years. So people who understand this, people who understand that they want to be with something which is taking to the world, growing, it's an opportunity area. That's one. Second, we are also equally excited to bring a lot of Indian investors now looking at investing overseas. That also is a big opportunity, and I think like Gulf is always an immediate market for us to invest, but outside Gulf, Europe is becoming very important now. Even you know, Germany has been extremely popular with Arabs investing. Now you will see Indians investing. So there has been a lot of opportunities coming there. It was only done at the industrial side. A lot of Indian investments have gone into the industrial side in Germany, but now it will go into service sectors and more retail sectors and things of that nature, because there is a much solid and robust economy there. So I think both sides there is an opportunity, but I feel that, and Franchise India is participating and helping both audience. And like Sachin mentioned, we're 6 o'clock today. We're doing a NRI show, which is non-resident Indians show, where we're bringing a lot of non-resident Indians to come and look at many opportunities. So that's a continuous endeavor. And Frank, we would love to work with you to maybe create a show which is where we can showcase a lot of German brands and create maybe an IP together and bring it to our audience and vice versa.
So,
yes,
there's a question.
Great. Happy to do that with you together.
Manas has a question. I'll take a few questions now. There are quite a few, but we'll try and cover a few of them. So Manas has a question that, how do I take a decision of taking up a franchise? So I'm gonna ask Franz, how do you advise a potential franchisee to sort of what are the to-do things you tell him?
Well, I think the first decision you have to make is that you want to run a business. If you hesitate on that decision to run a business, if your risk profile is such that you really don't want to do it, but maybe you are just forced to do it because of circumstances, then I always would advise not to do it, not to run a business and not to take up a franchise if you are too hesitant, because you really have to put your blood and sweat into a new franchise and also into a new business. So that's really important that you do that. And if you're hesitant to do it, then don't pick up a franchise and don't set up your own company, because how will you do that if you don't put your sweat and your heart into it? That is the most important criteria. So I always ask, of course, candidates whether they are willing to do that, whether they are willing to work long hours, whether they are willing to leave the employment status. And it's different if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a franchisee, it's different. You have responsibilities which before you didn't have. So I always make that very clear. And I think that is one of the most important criteria. And then, of course, it depends what someone likes, which industry he or she likes. So that, of course, then determines basically in which direction they are going. But I think the principal question is, are you prepared to be an entrepreneur or to run a company?
Yeah. So ownership mindset and the belief to run the company is very critical. Beyond, do you want to give some number to us? I mean, there are some of our audience who are willing to sort of know what kind of franchise fees, what numbers you have for India market. Have you given it a thought, or Franz gonna advise you later on what are the numbers one should be looking at?
So I can share some numbers regarding the business models, but it's only for our experience in the German-speaking market and of course in Russia. So I don't know if you can transfer this to India, but anyway, in Europe, we look at an capex from around $100,000 US for setting up your micro gym, excluding the machines, because the machines is a typical thing you will do a leasing for. So it's more an OPEX position. So, and what we charge is a 7.5 percentage of your turnovers with like nutritions, clothes, and of course, that's the main revenue stream, your fees for the trainings, the monthly subscriptions of your members. Yeah.
And you give all the software and all the tools required.
We are like a 360-degree, very feel well service company for our franchisees. Of course, when we are starting, we mostly help to find a location. That's where it all starts. Then we evaluate this location. Is this the right spot to rent? And of course, then we help with the bank and financing, how to finance this venture. We go on with trainings, of course. We help to find the right HR and staff members. And of course, we have a very, very modern social internet, a so-called social internet, where all our franchisees come together, and like internal Facebook, you can download all the know-how videos, marketing materials, you can connect to the others. So our knowledge is growing every day because many brains know more than one single one now.
That's right. So franchisee teaches us more. So Gaurav, we're just closing now. So your parting remarks and also your quick feedback on Fitbox as an opportunity with the numbers that Björn has spoken about.
So I think numbers significantly we can work with France and really work on putting the numbers. My suggestion would be that India is a very big market. It should be divided into truly about two very strong stages. One is what I call the go-to market. The go-to market is finding the right entrepreneurial team which works with you, which are enthusiasts, people who really know what they're doing, and they set some perspective and make the first few successful. I always say, when you come to India, don't see a billion plus population. This is actually a myth. There's about 8 to 10 cities of India which would give you 60% of the overall premium consumption. When I say premium consumption, fitness still comes in it's not a necessity in India, it still comes in a premium consumption. So only for 10 cities give you. These 10 cities would essentially mean in your conversion structure, a full-blown opportunity would become 250 odd units. That's an opportunity. So it's not really about 250 units, it's about the first 5 units. How do we really make the first 5 really successful and rocking, and they do very well. And so I would say, let's work on the go-to-market capability, really find somebody who's very committed, very passionate, does it well, brings the right value structure, and also works with you, what I call, and I like you call it a firm and flexible rule. You're firm on the brand experience and talk about flexible is about what I call adaptability to a market. Adaptability to a market is very important. We are extreme weathers. You are in extreme weather in Germany. We are also extreme weather in India. We are very hot. So our temperatures run to 46, 47, and most of the places in India outside the small part of north doesn't get winters. So we have different perspective, different climates, different capabilities, different buying experiences. Culturally very different. Who needs to be done. But I think there's a huge opportunity in these 10 odd top cities with about 250 odd units. We need to really work on the capex, because India, if you do whatever you do in Germany for 150, you can do it in about 30, 40,000 from a fit-out viewpoint outside the machinery. So it's quite different and cheap in that sense. And I think India always, I say, design a model which is extremely functional and very capex right, because you don't have to overprice in India. And then second would be to work with these 5 centers, get the right trainers in, write the structure in, right, they get word on diving, and then it creates this automated value up. And that would be, I think, my suggestion in terms of going forward. It's a great opportunity. You have a great timing for India, and we can work along with you to really select the right people in this market.
Thank you. That was great. We are just at the end of the program, so my thank you and to both the gentlemen joining from Germany, And it's been a great session, and we look forward to connecting back. Just final words from both of you, and then we close the session.
Well, it was a pleasure to be with you today. I very much enjoyed it. Also, of course, your perspective on the Indian market, and I'm looking forward that we are doing, business together, bring either Indian companies, Indian franchisors, or even other Indian companies to Germany, and vice versa. Thank you very much again.
Thank you also from my side. It was an honor for me to be part of this great session, and my hunger and my team's hunger for India is not only for food anymore. Maybe we do some business with you guys. That would be great. And if you have any questions, talk to Sachin or Gaurav or Franz, and I'll be honored, to get in touch with you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's absolutely delight, and I can tell you, you should come to India. And as we cannot give you in India, we also sell a lot of sausages, but the sausages you get in Germany and the beer you get in Germany is only you get in Germany. Similarly, the tikka masala and the naan we do it in India only gets in India. So we don't do it that same naan in Germany. So if you really want to enjoy, you should come to India. Similarly, when we want to enjoy our sausages and a nice beer, and that we have to go to Germany, right?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining, and great panel. Thank you, each one of you. Thank you.